I think I'm gonna title this like my spiritual awakening or something like that. But essentially that's what it is. I never thought I'd become that guy, you know, that person who believes in like metaphysics, who's into like spirituality, but I am now. And I'm not saying that as like putting a label on myself in like a demeaning manner. I just, you know, growing up I've always been so like sciencey. You know, it's all about facts. I mean, yeah, they're true, but at some point those two, like metaphysics and logic, they kind of have to like, you kind of have to combine them. You have to learn how to make them coexist with each other. But I call this my spiritual awakening because I'm 21 now, but when I was 18, it was during the COVID pandemic. I was graduating high school. It was actually just the start of our second semester, so that's when COVID hit and everything shut down. That was also the time that I broke up with my girlfriend at the time. And that was my first like, I wouldn't say real relationship because it didn't really last that long, but it did feel real. Like I felt like I had a real connection with her. It affected me a lot. It was the first relationship where I actually had some emotional attachment to it. But yeah, that was going on during the pandemic. Thank God for that though, because you know, there wasn't really anything else to do besides stay at home. So at least I could cry comfortably in my room and not have to go to school. But that was the start of it all. I feel like up until that point in my life, I've always been kind of just being a ghost, just blindly going through life, not questioning anything, kind of just accepting everything for how I was taught. You know, it was like there was a fog in my face and I was just on autopilot, just doing whatever I think is right. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but the point is I never actually made a decision based on my own personal wants and needs. It's like I wasn't living consciously, you know, conscious of my actions. And I think that's how it is for a lot of people, because especially in school you kind of just have to keep upgrading to the next level and you don't really have to think about it. You kind of just turn on your autopilot and nod your head, yes, raise your hand so the teacher can dismiss you. But it's when I realized that technically, you know, by the books I'm an adult, that I should start taking ownership of my life. And along with that breakup, it kind of made me how to do a lot of self-reflection, something that I've always done but I've never done that deeply. And this is where my spiritual journey comes in. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't believe in a God. I don't believe that there's a man in the sky watching down on us. I mean, that's slowly starting to change. It's not that I don't believe in a single God. I guess just my idea of God is different. I believe in the universe. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Anyways, broke up with this girl. We're in pandemic. My brother's like going through his woodworking phase because there's nothing else to do. So I'm chilling in the garage with him. You know, we're smoking weed, just chilling, music blasting. He's doing his wood stuff. I'm fucking sad as shit, sitting over here at the couch, staring at the ground and just contemplating my life up until this point. Because I'm telling you, for me, it was a lot. It was, you know, I was graduating. I'm not going to see half the people that I went to school with for the past, you know, however long. You know, the people that I knew growing up in elementary school. And at the same time, this girl that obviously it's naive, but I thought I would spend the rest of my life with her. That was a reality check. Super naive. Like, that was not going to happen at all. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. And I'm kind of just there reflecting on the relationship, really, because that was the only thing that was on my mind. And I was kind of going through the pros and cons of why it did work out and why it didn't work out. I think in this relationship, you know, I think it's so easy when you break up to just point your fingers at the other person and say they're the problem, you know, make up all these excuses for your own mistakes. But for me, it was a different approach. I don't know why, but even though my brother was sitting there comforting me, telling me, you know, it's not my fault, it's just how relationships are. You know, the usual stuff. You know, I'm really sitting there, I'm thinking the relationship ended because it was both our faults. And really, it wasn't just her. It was just me. I was just a naive, dumb little kid who never knew how to express his emotions, who never knew how to deal with it. I mean, up until that point, all I've ever done was bottle up everything. Even with my close friends, I could never, you know, truly be myself. I could never open up and say what I really want to say. Or I think that's part of why I've always been just alone. I preferred being alone. And I'm telling you, this girl, she was able to bring something out of me that I've always held back for so long. And that's the ability to just express myself unapologetically. And to this day, I'm so thankful for her for that. Because if it wasn't for that, you know, this whole spiritual journey wouldn't have started. But by the end of the time, I was able to list the pros and cons of why the relationship worked and why it didn't. I remember also making a list of things she did wrong and things I did wrong. Basically the same thing. I just made like a bunch of pros and cons list. That's what you got to get. But pretty quickly, I realized there's a lot of cons under my name. And I guess that was the first time that I really took ownership to anything and realized that, you know, maybe my actions had to do something with the outcome. it's not all out of my control. The reason things always end up badly or negatively or out of my favor, a lot of it is self-imposed. A lot of it was me, because of my actions, because of the way I was thinking. And when I realized that, that kind of just clicked everything together. Everything up until that point, the whole reason why I was feeling like I was just a ghost going through life, you know, having like a veil over my face, it was because of that. Because I was always too afraid to just take ownership and complete ownership of my actions. Because at some point you got to realize that life is, it really all comes down to you. It really is all you. Everything you do, no matter who's there with you, you can't point your fingers at anyone else, because at the end of the day, it's you pulling the trigger. You can have the best family out there, the best parents, you can even have the best teammates, the best friends, but at the end of the day, they're not making your life decisions for you. You do. And at some point, you gotta realize that instead of pointing your finger everywhere and at people and at things and at places, it's gotta be pointed inward. And it's funny saying that, because life is also a cycle of, you know, you kind of forget a lot of things, and this is one of the things that I seem to forget at times too. And it's something that I want to, you know, kind of just keep remembering. But that was the start of my realization that the world is really is my oyster. Everything is a figment of your imagination. Your reality is what you make it to be. It all comes from your own actions and your own thoughts and how you decide to perceive things. You know, the guy that cut you off on the way to work today, you know, that probably kind of pissed you off. But once he did that, you had two options. You could either stay mad, let it ruin your day before it even started, or you can just forget about it, because there's nothing you can really do about it now. You did what you could in your power, and it sucks that happened, but it's water under the bridge now. You can't do anything about it. But when this realization hit, it kind of flipped my whole world upside down. From what I believed in growing up all my life, all the lessons that my family instilled in me, all the, I guess, the worldview and the perception that I've had growing up until that point, that's been given to me by my family, because, you know, that's just our reality. That's when I had my paradigm shift and realized I can be whatever the fuck I want. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Obviously abiding by the laws, and you know, you still got actual reality, but your decisions are so important. Your thoughts that go into your head are so important, and everything is all about perception. You don't have to believe everything that you see or that you hear, you know? Someone could tell you one thing, but until you get definite proof and can come up with your own conclusion, then that's your reality. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't get. They seem to think they get, but they don't really get it. You know, all these concepts we learned growing up in school, kindness, respect, courage, all these dumb little like corny things that you know, that are being taught in movies and my fucking videos, they all sound like kind of corny cliche stuff, but until you get like a true understanding, a true grasp of it, you let down your ego thinking that you're better than it because, you know, you've heard it a million times and you understand the meaning of it. And you really try to, it's weird because it's not like a force that you can embrace. It's not like a computer where I can just fucking interact with it. It's something that you have to like embrace internally. But once you understand it, it's different. You start living by it. You know, you make it into your lifestyle. For me, that was confidence, learning to be confident, learning to respect others, you know, and really taking all these stupid ass lessons that were kind of fucking shoved down my mouth as a kid in school. I understand it now. Like back then, like, yeah, you know the meaning, you know how it's supposed to be done, but it's like, I didn't really understand. Bro, I just want to fucking play with Legos. Once you realize that everything is a perception and you truly understand it, I think you can start seeing the people around you and the world around you, and you can stop taking it less to heart. You can stop imagining things like it's against you, like it was made to be your downfall. You know, that guy that cut you off, he didn't do that to piss you off, you know? He didn't do that to fucking ruin your fucking day. He doesn't know you. He just did it because he's an asshole. But the hard part wasn't just fully understanding that. The hard part was trying to unlearn everything that I've been taught up until that point. And I can see it now even with my family. I want to help break them out of that kind of small thinking, getting pissed over these trivial things, these things that don't matter. Everything is just random, arbitrary. All that actually matters is, I guess, finding fulfillment in yourself. I don't really know how to put it into words, but the things you think are such big problems but are actually like really small problems, that's all they are. It's all your perception. Like, you can get mad because, I don't know, like, for example, if I was still living with them and you come into the living room and it's a little dirty, you can let that ruin your entire day, get mad, you know, lecture everyone, tell them about how messy it is and how they fucked up and how it shouldn't be like that. and you make it into a big problem, sure, you can do that, but you're gonna end up miserable, and it's not gonna solve anything. Even if you get them to clean it up, you still feel that hatred in you. It's about just realizing that those things are so random, they're so arbitrary, they're trivial, they don't fucking matter. What really matters is your actual relationship with those people. And that's been the biggest hurdle for me, is trying to break free, I guess unlearn all the bad habits that I've been instilled with, and trying to reach a higher level of elevation where I don't have to get caught up with all these like trivial things. And that's hard because, like I said, everything's a cycle. You're gonna forget, and especially in the heat of the moment, like you're not gonna remember. I feel like there's two sides to us in here. There's our brain, our logical side. This is the side that is all about facts and reality, and that was the side that I was so comfortable with, and I guess it was the one that was guiding me throughout life up until I was 18. And just on another note, it's kind of weird for me to be speaking on these topics because, I'm only 21. I'm so young. I don't know if I have anything to teach people because I have so much to learn still. And again, I don't know if I'm actually bringing any real value, but back to the video. Anyways, that logical side, that brainy part of us, this is just my theory, but I think that's like our like animal side, that's our biological side. And there's another side of us, it's the unconscious. Carl Jung, if you've ever looked into him, he talks about this a lot. It definitely helps put what I'm trying to say into better words, so if you can read up on that, it means. But the unconscious is the thing that we can't seem to understand with our current science right now. It's the part of us that makes us go beyond just being animals. It's the side of us that makes us different from the actual animals around us. Our logical side, our animal side, it's the one that tells us to eat food, have sex, I guess react on impulses. But the unconscious side, that's our human side. That's the one that knows how to express love. That's the one that knows how to create art, that knows how to imagine, fantastical buildings for us to build. And I want to get to the point where I can get better at combining those two. I believe that's what the higher self is, and then also what Buddha meant when he said he reached ultimate enlightenment or something. Mind you, I'm not religious at all. My culture is more shamanism, so we do like fucking spells and shit. But I think that's also why I'm also so much more spiritual, is because that's what we rely on, is spirituality. I'm not religious at all, but I believe that unconscious power that tells us to do more than just eat, sleep, and fuck, that's the God that's speaking to us, that we believe is God. This isn't making any sense. Let me just resume telling the story so it can make better sense. But anyways, after kind of realizing that I'm in control of my life, I'm in control of my reality, I started taking that to heart. That's when I worked harder than ever to just be able to move out, because I wanted to take on the world, be my own man, make my own shit, make my own money. And I did. And I'm doing that right now. It's a struggle. And I feel like I still haven't really figured out the sauce. And eventually, I'm scared that I'm scared that I will never figure out the sauce. And I'm also scared that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this way of thinking that for some reason I've become attached to is wrong. And that the way I was thinking before was the right way, and I've chosen the wrong path. That's when I really got into self-improvement, started working out again. I started fucking studying for fun. I learned finance for fun because I wanted to be one of the stock bros. That was a pretty short-lived chapter, but because of that, at least I'm a little knowledgeable about, finances. But that also pushed me forward and made me realize that I am capable if I simply, actually take action into the things that I want. Anyways, fast forward a year later, and I decided to do shrooms for the first time, because even before I took those shrooms, I felt it. Like when I was, sitting there on that couch with my brother doing his wood things, and I'm contemplating this relationship, I felt it. I was doing a lot of soul searching, and I felt something like a higher power talking to me. I didn't know what I was in for with shrooms, but I wanted to talk to entities, because that's what I've heard. And when I did do shrooms, it was not what I thought it would be at all. I thought I would be seeing shit. I thought I would be, seeing these things, and they would be talking to me and whatever, and it would be like all fun, like those weird acid trips. But it was more so just a feeling. And I felt like I was pulsating on the outside, but on the inside, I guess in my chest area and just anywhere up from here. Now I can say that because a few weeks ago I did shrooms, and that's how I felt. Like it just felt like a lot of the power or energy, I guess, was from my chest up. See, now I sound like a crazy fucking cuckoo saying this, but anyways, in my insides, I felt love. Like I felt warm. I felt at peace. I felt like a baby again, like a kid. Like how you would, like if you ever think back to when you were a kid, it's like that naive feeling, I guess, of you just know everything's gonna be alright because you're a kid. You don't really know. I don't know. I can't actually describe it in that way. I guess I just felt really calm, really at peace, really in touch with nature for some reason. And I just had like a million thoughts going on in my head at once. I had a notebook. Actually, I think I still have it. Probably not going to read it in this video, but I just kind of jotted down everything that was going through my mind at that point. I think one of it was I miss my mom. And I remember why I was thinking that because, while those thoughts were going through my head, like, again, I was reflecting throughout my life and reflecting how that transition from Thailand to Canada really affected me up until the point where I decided to just bottle up everything because it was easier to just numb it out than to actually deal with it. But taking those shrooms were just super healing. However, I can say that even though those shrooms kind of like opened up my mind to see things for, I guess, how it is. I don't mean like all like sciencey based, but like kind of get me in touch with my spiritual side. It still wasn't as impactful as my breakup. Something about that breakup like really opened up like a spiritual channel. Does that sound fucking crackheady? The first time I did shrooms, that was with my friends, and then it's like my third or fourth time doing it. I did it alone. It was after work. I had like those chocolate gummy ones, and I was just gonna, it was a Friday night, so I'm like, I have nothing else to do. I might as well pop it. It was like already late at night, 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or something like that. But I went for a walk. I ended up downing the whole fucking chocolate bar. I went from a walk from my house all the way to the university, which was like, I don't even know how long, but I'm pretty sure more than 10 kilometers. I walked all that there, walked around there for a little bit, and then walked all the way back. I'm telling you, these shrooms, like, they give me superpowers. I see why the Vikings took them. But anyways, this next journey that I went on, this was like a big revelation for me. That walk to the university, I guess that was at a point where I was also thinking about dropping out. But that walk there was just, if there was like a final lesson that I learned from that, it would be probably to be okay with not fitting in and be okay with missing out on normal fucking college stupid shit. I was walking by like all these party houses and just realizing like, wow, this is what I'm missing out on. Like it's not that special. It's not like a once in a lifetime thing. It's like I saw the truth behind those, like these dumb random parties. Not that they're not fun or anything. It's just they're meaningless. They don't matter. It's just dumb fun, which is fine, but it's just, it's like it's not something worth dying for, which is kind of like the perception I had of it before, where I really, really wanted to get invited to one, but it's not that big a deal, man. On the walk back, that's when I realized the shrooms were telling me to not take it anymore. Like I don't need it. It was telling me that to live a good, fulfilling life, I can live how me as a human was intended to live. You don't need all these body enhancing drugs to make your life better. You just need to live a simple life, a clean life. Just eat regular food, exercise, get some normal amount of social interaction. And I actually threw out a bit of the chocolate that was left. I had like 2 pieces left, and I really hope no one found it because it was just like overfilled garbage. So I kind of had to like shove it down there a little. But hopefully nobody saw it and took it. Maybe a homeless guy did, but who knows? Maybe it'll help him turn his life around. I don't know. Anyways, my trip didn't end there though. When I got back to my house, and I still have the recording of it, I filmed myself talking to myself for 40 minutes high on shrooms. And the entire time, this is when I really, really heard the universe speaking out to me. And then this is where my kind of religious beliefs come in. Again, when I say religious lightly, because I'm not actually like, praise the Lord, hallelujah, that's not me. I'm not saying either that can't be me, But anyways, that was when I really started contemplating on God and whether or not he really existed, because I really felt like something was talking to me, not through words, not through a voice, but through a feeling. I felt it again in my chest, like really, really, really deep down. I remember what I did too. I got into like this fetal position. I guess actually no, in like a praying position. It was on my knees and I was like this on the floor, and I had my eyes closed and I could just hear it. And I was responding to it. I have it all on video. I'm not going to show it because I look fucking cracked out. But I'm never deleting that too. That's when the voice that I was hearing was telling me that we're all connected. We're all just one being. There is no God. There's only a universe. We are all the product of the universe. Everything around you. And essentially, the universe, that is what God is. I don't know anything about vibrations, frequencies, energy, whatever, but I just know that we're all made up of the same thing. Well, actually, I don't know that. That's just a conclusion that I came to, because if we're all the product of the same thing, We must all be made of the same thing. That also changed my perception on people, the things around me. And for some reason, I felt the voice was telling me that I was the chosen one. And now that I'm saying that out loud, it just sounds so silly. Like, come on, I'm the chosen one, really? Some Asian kid? Like, I've kind of come to terms with my insignificance in this universe, that I'm not supposed to make, like, and I think this goes for all of us. Like, we're not supposed to make this huge, big change. We're meant to just enjoy it, because we're all just the universe experiencing itself, and we all got to just go with the flow. But at the same time, I also think maybe the reason we're all here, the reason there's 8 billion of us now, it's maybe we are all the chosen ones. We're all chosen to be here for a reason. So yeah, I don't believe in a God. I believe in a universe. And that voice that I heard, I believe deep down that was my own voice. And I believe when people say they hear God, it's not them hearing like actually like God, some guy in all white with a white beard talking to us. No, I think it's just our unconscious. The unconscious that's laying dormant within our head, and it's speaking to us because it's a fragment of the universe. It's a part of the universe, and it's trying to tell us that so are we. But yeah, I don't know if that's making sense. I hope that's making sense. Point is, we are all God. Everything around us is God, and God is only simply a label that we've put on this to help us better understand it. I find it so funny how people have like arguments over God, over religion. There's been wars that have been fought over religion, over who's right and who's wrong. And even growing up, like, even I remember as a kid getting into those arguments all the time. My friend was deeply into God back then, my best friend. So, of course, I did too. I became very scared of going to hell. But after that, I kind of just became atheist. And there's no Jesus. There's no God. Actually, I do believe in Jesus. I believe he was a real person. But I don't believe that Christianity or whatever your religion is the right ultimate one. There is none. There's only now. What we have around us now. And the more we stand around arguing about who's right and who's wrong, we're going to forget about what's happening right now and what we can do right now as gods, with our decisions right now, what we can do now to go forward. I know for sure that's not all I wanted to say, but that's all I'm going to say for now, because my train of thought is running out, and I pretty much got what I wanted to say. I guess the conclusion you should get from this is to embark on your spiritual journey, to stop neglecting that side of you because you think you're better than it, because you're sciencey, you're smart, you're intelligent, yeah, you're an academic. Take it from a dropout. I don't know why I said that. I'm kidding. Don't. The point is, just start your spiritual journey. Start realizing you're in this bitch, whether you like it or not, and that at some point or another you're gonna have to learn about love, and I mean true love, not just love for a partner. Love for everything around you. So start your spiritual journey, man. I'm telling you, take a few shrooms. I'm just kidding. I know some of you are gonna fucking abuse that shit because you're fiends. No, don't abuse it. Like, take it for a reason. Take it if you're running out of, if you really want to find answers, but don't take it as a coping mechanism. And another thing I want to leave you off on is, even though I'm saying all this doesn't make me a super enlightened person who has everything figured out. Nah, man. I'm telling you. Like I said, everything is a cycle. You're going to forget, especially in the heat of moment when, you're relying on your human animal instincts to just, do things for you. Nah, everything's a process. You're going to, especially important lessons, you're going to forget them eventually. It's going to fade away. It's still there. It's just kind of covered in a blanket. And then you're going to realize that it's been there the whole time, and you kind of remember, you go, oh, yeah, I remember that. But that's it, man. That's it. I'm going to stop.